Hi, and thank you for joining me today. My name is John Harris. I'm the support manager over at SunLync, and today we're going to go over employee scheduling. This is a new feature we've added into one of the iterations of version 8.80.18.0, which will allow you to schedule your employees for all your stores for their daily shifts. If you're not on version 8, or if you're on an iteration of version 8 but aren't up to version 18.0 yet, contact our support team at either support@sunlink.com or 866-SUNLINK to get upgraded. So first, what we're going to do today is we're going to go into Backoffice to show you how we are going to enable scheduling for your employees. So first thing you'll need to do is log in with your Backoffice user ID and password. Once in there, go into Employees and then Security Templates. And then as you can see, there's a New Employees Page 2 option under the Security Templates. So for the owner or manager or whatever templates you have in here, you can probably delegate what access you want to allow them to have. If it's a smaller salon, maybe the owner will be the one who does most of the administrative stuff. If it's larger, if there's a larger salon, maybe the district manager or the store manager will be the one in there creating the schedules for their employees. So depending on the salon size or what your process looks like, you can delegate access depending on who needs access to what. So if I go down here, you'll see that the owner has access to everything. Manager, point of sale employee, bed cleaner, they only have access to view the schedules. So what managed schedules means is that they can insert insert employees onto the schedule. Managing time off means that it will allow them to approve requests for time off or decline them and add notes and that sort of thing. There's a cool feature in here called trades. What that will allow an employee to do is, if they have a shift that's been scheduled, they can post their shift to a trade board, which will open it up to any employee being able to accept that shift and take that employee's shift or trade a shift with that employee. View schedule is obviously giving you the ability to view schedules for the salons that you're affiliated to, and then viewing the trade board is an option to allow employees to be able to view the trade board. So maybe what you can probably do is for all your POS employees, giving them the option to view the schedule and also maybe view the trade board so that they can see if there's other shifts that they want to pick up. So for now, my owner users have access to pretty much everything. Point of sale employees have access to just viewing the schedule and viewing the trade board. So on the management side, if you want to create a schedule for your employees for a specific store, as you can see, I'm logged into North Desktop. Right here on the far right side, up at the banner, you will see a new option called scheduling. If you click on that, there will be a few options there depending on what access you have. If you have the management access, you will see an option there for management. If you only have view access, you'll be able to see view my schedule and view trade board here. So right now we're going to go into scheduling employees. So click on scheduling and then management and then all schedules. And as you can see, I have a few employees scheduled for this week. Currently I have John Wesley scheduled every day, from Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock, and then Al scheduled from 4 p.m. to 9 p.m. Now, in going back through this, you'll see that the available times to schedule someone is based off of your times that you've entered into store parameters. So if we take a step back here and look at store parameters, you'll see that under reports you set your business day from 8 to 11 or 7 to 10 or whatever your business hours are. So it will allow you to schedule employees based on these hours here. So now if you want to schedule somebody else, let's say for instance from 8 to 10 o'clock in the morning, or overlap from 8 to 11 maybe, we can go ahead and basically click and drag and then right click, and then you're going to hit insert here. And then you're going to select your employee that's affiliated to the store. And let's say we go ahead and set Mary Smith to be scheduled from 8 to 11 a.m. If you want to change this after you've went into the screen, you can select these up and down arrows here to adjust the start and date time. If you're just creating sort of uh, a, a, a template or a draft of the schedule, and you don't want it to be seen by all of your employees just yet, in case you're doing scheduling once every week, or once every 2 weeks, you can just set it to pending, and then the employees won't be able to see the schedule that you're working on when they go in to view the schedule. Once you confirm, then they'll be able to see that schedule when they go into their end and log in. So for now, we'll leave it to pending confirmation. We'll confirm it shortly. To the right hand side, you'll see that there's a tab up there to show upcoming shifts for this specific employee, any upcoming block shifts that the employee may have entered in for herself, or any upcoming time off requests that have been approved. If this Mary Smith is going to work every Wednesday from 8 to 11, what you can do is say repeats weekly, and repeat every week for the same day. And then if you want to say after X amount of occurrences, or if it's until the end of the year or end of the semester, you can go in here and set the end date that this shift's going to end. So we'll hit save for now. And then you'll see that Mary Smith has been inserted in for Wednesday, as well as, if you go to the next week's, every week leading up to December 31st. Now, like I said, this is just a draft. We didn't set it live per se. So if you double click on this shift here, you'll see that there will be a set live button. And then if you want to add notes or update it, for instance, you can go in here and do so. So for now, we'll go ahead and set live. And right now it's going to say, okay, because this is a reoccurring schedule, do you want to just set the 24th, Wednesday 24th shift live, or do you want to do all of them? So we're going to update all future ones because we expect Mary Smith to be in every Wednesday, and that's not going to change until the end of the year. So now if Mary Smith was the login, she would see that she's now scheduled for Wednesday 24th from 8 to 11, and then every week afterward that same time. And so basically this is the same. Once you, depending on how many employees you have working, you'll be able to go in here and insert multiple employees in a specific time, for a specific time rather. And then if you have access to the other locations as well, and you have access to manage schedules, you can also insert employees for those other stores from this screen as well. Or if you want to just check on the existing schedule for your current location, you can do that. On this screen also, you can export to Excel. So if you click on Export to Excel, what it'll do is print off the current schedule that you have set up, and then you can actually print this, or your employees can print this to take home or what have you. Also, if you're creating schedules, and we'll get into it in a little bit, but if your employees have blocked availability, there's options here to view blocked items, employee unavailability, any pending time off that may have not been approved, any approved time off or denied time off. You can set these filters so that it shows or doesn't show in this screen here. So now what we're going to do is go into the time off management area of this portal as well. Like I said, you would need access to that in the security templates to be able to access this portion. So we'll go into management and time off requests. And you'll see here that there's a few options. You can view all approved, denied, and pending, or just pending, or just approved, or just denied. If you want to look at all requests for all stores that have been inserted, you can keep it at all stores. If you want to select and drill down to a specific store's request, you can do that as well. And then the starting date after, meaning whatever date this is, it's going to show you any time off requests starting at this date moving forward. So if you want to go back to see who requested off maybe in April, you can do that as well. So we don't have any in here yet, so what we're going to do is we're going to log in as one of the other employees and insert in a time off request. And now the employees are going to be able to access the scheduling from either back office if they have access to back office, or from point of sale. So obviously this user I have listed here has all access to everything. If we were to go into point of sale and log in with that user's unique password, you'll see that he'll only have limited access from point of sale because it's only set up for viewing schedules or the trade board from here. So I'm logging in as John Wesley. So for instance, I want to request off the 3rd, or maybe let's say the 4th, for instance. What I can do is I can right click on the 4th and request time off. Let's say I'm usually working at the North store, which I'm currently logged into, so I'll set North. And then I'm requesting off for the 4th, all day, and then save. And then if you wanted to, you could add any notes in there as well. So now it's going to say time off request sent for manager approval. Hit OK. And now, if I'm John Wesley, I see that my request is currently pending. So now if I go back into the owner back office and I go back into time off requests, I'm going to see that John Wesley has requested the 4th off all day and is currently pending. So from here, what I can do is I can approve this or decline it depending on what the circumstances is, or like I said, you can also uncheck pending or what have you from there. So if I wanted to approve it, I'd hit approved, hit yes, and yes, I'd like to add a note. Have a fun family trip, John. Save. Approved. And now you can see that approved request is no longer in my view because I don't have approved time off requests showing. But if I wanted to, I can check it. And now if I go back into point of sale and log back in as that employee, I'll then see that it's been approved and a note has been added as well. Have a fun family trip. And now if I wanted to cancel it or add any more notes or update it or whatever the case may be, I can go ahead and do that from here as well. And then the other neat thing is that if you try to schedule, going back into scheduling, if you try to schedule John Wesley for that period, it's going to say conflicting time off requests because it knows that I have an approved time off request for that day. Also, it'll show you down here at the bottom that there's an approved time off request. So if somebody's responsible for time off requests and somebody else is responsible for creating the schedules, that person who creates the schedules will see, oh, it's been approved for the 4th. Okay, I'm not going to schedule John for that day, sort of thing. In staying with the trade or a management side of things, let me go back into owner. I am. You'll see that trade management option here. Like I said, that's basically the ability to for an employee who has a schedule that's been posted or set live to look at their schedule, and then if they can't work on a specific day, post that shift to a trade board for other employees to go in there and view to be able to pick up their shift or swap with another shift that they may have. So if you go into the management side of it, you'll see that there's a few options just like the time off request management window. Very minimal options, very clean. You'll see right here if there are any shift trade requests that have been entered by an employee. As the manager or person who has access to the management side for shift trade, they'll have to approve that shift trade first. And then once the management has approved that shift trade, then that shift will be posted to the trade board for employees to view to be able to pick up. If the manager doesn't go in there and approve it, it will never show on the shift trade board for all employees to view. From here also, you can deny that request. So if an employee tries to request off on a Saturday to post that to the shift trade board, and you have this specific employee doing certain tasks that you need them to do on that Saturday, you can go ahead and deny that request for it to be posted to the shift trade and follow up with that employee or whatever the circumstance would be. So from here you'll see if once we get into the user side of it, if an employee was to insert a shift trade, you'll have the ability to either approve it, deny it. If there is a swap requirement, that basically means if the employee requires a swap to happen, so if employee 1 enters the request and employee 2 takes it and there's a shift swap requirement, employee 2 now is going to have to give employee 1 a shift of theirs for the swap. So you can remove that requirement if you'd like as well, and then also you can stop it. So for instance, I have 2 here. I'm just going to stop them all together, and what that's going to do is just remove them from the board altogether. And then you'll see in there's a filter for filtering out or showing only specific types of shift trades that have been entered into the system. So as far as the management side of it, that's pretty much it. What I'm going to go into next is basically the employee viewing their schedule and viewing the trade board. We kind of went into that a little bit with my user Wesley here. So if Wesley goes to login to point of sale, let me actually take a step back here. So if Wesley is logged into point of sale and he's got customers that he's checking in, and in between he wants to check his schedule for next week to see if it's been posted yet. What he can do is click on employees at the top there, scheduling, view by schedule, and then he's going to enter his password. And then from there he's going to be able to see his schedule for the next few weeks or however long it's been inserted. So however far forward you've set that schedule live, John Wesley's going to be able to see that schedule. Now for instance, let's say on the week of the 13th, and I already showed you how to insert a time off request, but let's say on the week of the 13th, that Thursday, let's say, John Wesley can't work this shift. He's going out of town. He needs to trade this shift with somebody else. So what we're going to do is basically double click on the shift, click on trade right here, and then it's going to ask you, are you sure you wish to offer this shift for trade? And then you're going to hit yes. And then it's going to ask you, this is where that swap requirement comes into play. It's going to ask you if you required a shift in exchange for this offer. So if somebody takes this Thursday shift, do I require a shift of theirs in return? So for now, I'm just going to hit no. And then it's going to ask me, because this is a recurring schedule, do you want to update or send the shift for Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, or just this Thursday? So right now, I just need to go out of town on Thursday, so I'm just going to update this unique shift. And then it's going to say schedule item successfully saved. Now once that occurs, basically what happens is that the management is then sent a request to approve my trade. So as the owner, I go in and I check my I go in there and check my trade management post. I'll see that John Wesley has offered 716. There's no swap requirement, and then whether or not I want to approve it, I can do all that from here. So if I wanted to approve it, I'll just hit approve, and it'll say allow employee to post the shift on the trade board. You hit yes, and then it's going to say trade request now available on the trade board. So as long as somebody has access, or all the point of sale employees have access to the trade board, they'll be able to view that from point of sale and pick up shifts, or pick up this specific shift that John Wesley has posted to it. So now if I go into the trade board, it actually won't show me my own. So let me log in as somebody else. Okay. So I logged in as Al Gagliano. And now that I've logged into the shift trade board and I've come down to the week of the 16th, it'll now show that John Wesley has posted a shift for 10 to 4 p.m. on the 16th. And then if I want to pick that shift up, what I can do is double click it, and it'll ask whether or not you want to pick that shift up, and I'll hit yes. And now it'll say, hey, you've successfully picked up this shift. So now if I go in and log in as my employee Al, and I go to the week of the 16th, you'll see that I've also picked up this 10 to 4 shift now. And for this specific employee, he's also working the 4 to 9, so he's going to be there pretty much all day. And now if I go into the schedule for John Wesley for the 16th, you'll see that that shift is now cleared out. And now from point of sale, depending on your employee's access, like I said, that's pretty much how they're going to A, view their schedule, and B, view the shift trade board. Now what I'll do before I let you go, I'll actually show you about the shift trade requirement and what that means. Basically what that means is that an employee has posted a shift for trade, and the other employee who decides that he wants to take that shift, he must give up a shift to take it. So depending on your standard operating procedures, or your procedures in general at your salon, if somebody posts a shift, you may have to give up a shift once you post one. So I'll show you how that's done. So what I'm going to do is go into the schedule for Al Gagliano again, and I'm going to post one of his shifts for trade. So to do that, like I said before, you just double click on the shift, hit trade. Do you want to offer this shift for trade? You hit yes. Do you require a shift in exchange for this offer? Yes. And then I'm going to just offer this unique shift, update unique, and now it's been saved. And now if you've been paying attention to the previous example, management now has to go in. Basically management, I would suggest kind of going in at the beginning of the day and the end of the day to go there to check the time off requests and trade requests. So now they're going to go into trade management, and they're going to see that Al has a pending trade request approval. There's a swap required as well, and it's for 7/9. So I'm going to go ahead as the manager or the owner and approve this request. And now it's going to be posted to the shift trade board. So now at point of sale, I'm going to view the trade board as John Wesley for the week of the 9th. And I'm going to see that Al's posted a shift, but there's a trade required, as you see here. So if I double click this, I'm going to say yes, I want to pick it up. And then it's going to say, hey, you can't do that because you have a shift from 5 to 6 p.m. Unable to continue. So it does do some checks to make sure that you don't have a shift set for that period of time. So what I'm going to do is actually log in as another user. And I'm going to go ahead and double click it. And it's going to say this shift requires a swap. Do you want to continue? Yes. And then depending on the employee, I'm currently logged in as the owner now, it's going to say, hey, do you have any future shifts that you can even give out first? So it does do quite a few checks there to make sure that you're eligible to pick up this shift if there's a trade required. So it's going to say, hey, you have no future shifts. And then it's going to hit OK. So for this example, what I'm going to do is go into my schedule. And I'm going to schedule the owner in for the 11th. So from 8 to 5, the owner is going to work on Saturday, July 11th. And we're going to confirm that. Okay. So now as the owner, if I'm in point of sale and I wanted to view that shift trade again, or that shift trade board, I can go in there and now I can pick up the shift. It's going to say, hey, it requires a swap. Continue, yes. And now it's going to see that, oh, now as the owner, I do have a shift available to trade with Al to pick up the schedule that he set there. So what I'm going to do is then offer this shift, and then depending on how many shifts I have that have been set live, there would be multiple instances of a schedule here. So I'm going to offer that shift. Do you want to offer? Yes. Trade has been sent to managerial approval. So now that I've offered Al that, the management is going to have to go in there and view that swap to make sure that if I'm giving up a schedule and Al is giving up a schedule, that there aren't going to be any gaps in the schedule overall. So what I'm going to do as the owner, go into trade management. I'm going to see, okay, Al offered the 7-9 swap required. John Harris has picked that up at Store North for the 11th swap or 11th shift. So I'm going to go ahead and approve. And at this point, like I said, we can stop this trade or deny the request. And if you deny it, basically that John Harris will not be able to pick up that shift and swap the 11th. So I'm going to go ahead and approve. Trade request swap offer now available for the original employee to review. So now, in going through all this, Al doesn't know what shift I've offered him. So now what I'm going to have to do as Al is go into the shift that I offered, which was the 9th, and you will see that now view swap is available to view to see what John has offered me as far as a shift in exchange for the 9th that I've offered up. So now as Al, I'm going to go in here and say, okay, I offer the 9th of July from 4 to 9, and John has proposed a swap for the 11th from 8 to 5 p.m. and I'm going to think about that and say, okay, yeah, I'm out Thursday, but I can come in Saturday. I'll be back in town later on that night, not a problem. And then I can go ahead and accept that. And now you'll see as Al, now you'll see that this shift has been moved and this shift has been picking up. And then if I log in as John, view my schedule with my password, you'll see that I no longer have the Saturday, July 11th schedule, and I have the Thursday, July 9th schedule from 4 to 9. So that's pretty much it. I know there's probably a few questions surrounding employee scheduling and what other features it may come with. But that's a basic training. My suggestion would be to go in there and create a test database, or in your live database, kind of test it and see how things work. If you don't have multiple employee records, or if you want to test it with your managers or district managers just to see how things function, you can definitely do that. But yeah, that's the employee scheduling. We're definitely looking to get feedback and enhancement requests from our customers to just see where, what gaps we may have compared to how you process your employee schedules today. So I thank you for your time. If you have any questions, once again, you can contact SunLync support at support@sunlync.com or 866 SunLync. Thank you.